Hi, I'm Neil Lawrence and I'm an Arachne author, and I wanted to tell you something about my journey to Arachne. So I came to writing at the age of 40, and it was part of a joint project, still unfinished. And my sense of career and myself at that point was a complete and utter mess. And when my writing partner became not so easily available, I felt the need to try and overcome my fear of writing on my own and start a project. So my first steps were to write a novel, and then I was lucky enough to be accepted into a writing group, writers of our age, or should I say, writers of our age. And I then quickly realised that putting words onto a page does not make it a joy to read. I also made the horrific discovery that getting feedback from people with greater experience felt very, very personal and required fortitude to work through. For quite a while, this turned me into a real defensive grimacer. Why don't you write a short story was the advice that I kept getting as others had to wade through my prose, which was frankly so stiff you could stand a spoon up in it. I just wanted to say, why don't you mind your own business? Feeling like a precious and sulky 13-year-old. And the problem was this, that I'd never met a short story I ever liked. But when I gave in, I quickly discovered exactly why so many people say, read Raymond Carver. And after that, I discovered Shirley Jackson and Brian Evanson all by myself. And then, yes, then I wanted to write a short story. And from my very first attempt, it felt like a creative tap had really been turned on. And it was a bit of a surreal foray, really, into my own life, living with a chronic health condition. And it felt intensely personal, but also very, very satisfying. And the writing group loved it as well. And that was when I made the horrific discovery that my sulky self had to admit that if you listen to people who know what they're talking about, they could be right. And there was even more baffling news for my battered self-esteem, which was the results of being caught up in a toxic day job. The group not only liked my writing, but they liked me as well. Could people do that? Was that why they kept challenging me to do better? Who knew? And as other stories emerged, I started to send them off to competition. And, well, didn't get very far. Some of the stories were good, others were not well exactly formed. Last year, when Arachne Press made their annual announcement for Solstice Shorts, their competition, my response again was that of a sulky teen. Oh my gosh, I'd have to write to a theme of time and tide. For heaven's sake, I don't write to themes. I decided absolutely, definitively, I was not going to enter. It would mean writing something new. I didn't have the time, blah, 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 and there was Netflix to watch, etc. But as I walked away from the challenge and let myself off the hook, ideas started to form in my head anyway. The Liverbirds, my Liverpool home, my ancestors arriving as refugees from Poland, the people of Liverpool being incredibly welcoming. I could sort of turn my own family history into a peaceful protest against Brexit. Getting Diaspora published by Arachne as part of the 2019 Solstice Anthology made me cry. Tears of joy and relief. There are things you can get taken away, your house, your career, your health, your confidence. But once you've been published for the first time, you can never be unpublished for the first time. And the fact that the story was different in feel and intention to many of my others made the validation all the sweeter. This year I've submitted again, a new story again for Solstice Shorts. The theme, time goes by turns. Very true. And I've written something that feels fresher to me. There's a tenderness and a vulnerability that sort of bled into this story. It's a tale at heart really about my deep-seated appreciation of my sister Donna. I've even managed another happy ending. So I want to thank Arachne for the crucial support and help they've given me. Being published builds greater motivation than ever before, and a desire to create tighter plots and even more believable characters with believable motivations. I'm not a fluke. I am a writer.